There you go. Got it. Perfect.
Hi, good morning, everyone. And we're all in for a real treat. Deirdre Thornton needs no introduction, but we shall anyway. She's quite a superstar, and she's brought on her good friend Bibi, who we're just getting to know. And maybe we just start out with Deirdre a little bit. I had the opportunity to be at her clinic. It's quite impressive. All kinds of interesting things that you might not see anywhere else, different modalities. She's especially famous as a colonic hydrotherapist. I think just getting started in that, only 20-something years, helped a lot of people. And she's come across Avini with some miracles. And then maybe I can have her introduce you, Bibi, because wow, I just meeting you this morning, talking, maybe you can say all of that all over again too. So
I'd be happy to, of course.
So Deirdre, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, so Bibi has been a client of mine for a while, and when you have a client for a while, you know, and you click, then she becomes a friend, and I consider her a very good friend. And she had some health challenges, very intelligent, ate well, exercised, took care of herself. And the health challenges, you know, I would come to a point where I could only help her so far, and it wasn't moving forward. And then we found the Avini products, and it's been able to help her quite a bit. And so she's highly intelligent, highly researched, which is wonderful, because then we have these great talks. I love science, you know, but like Mark Twain says, I wouldn't let science hold me back.
I love that.
So I like to mix science with practical experience. And with that mixing, I'm able to run across things that really help people. So I'm going to let Bibi tell you her story, because it's very significant in the health world and in the sickness world, and it can help literally thousands of people. And so I just felt like it was really important that you come on and tell it, and she was so willing, and I'm so grateful that she was willing. And so I'm going to turn it over to you, Bibi.
Okay, thanks, Deirdre.
And do tell us about those 3 careers too.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I'm on my 3rd career. I live in Bozeman, Montana, and I started out as a performing artist. Went to school in New England and wrote a one-woman play that I used to tour all over the country. And after a while, ended up in Atlanta, exhausted, and became actually an entrepreneur. I found this old historic mansion, renovated it with a partner, and turned it into a beautiful wedding venue that was very popular. We did all the catering and the florals and the wedding direction. And but it was exhausting. And after 14 years, I was ready for another chapter. And I decided to move to Montana to be near my family. So I've been here 6 years, and just recently got my realtor license, following in my mother's footsteps, and am really loving helping people find their next chapter homes or investment property here in Montana. So, but with that, throughout the years since my 20s, I've really struggled with more minor gut issues back then, but have tried over the years, as I'm sure many of you who've struggled with chronic challenges, doctors and alternative and diets. I've read so much. I mean, constant efforts until I had a home colonic unit in my home just to get some relief. Long story short, well, I'm gonna table that for just a second. Then in my 30s, I sadly contracted herpes, the herpes virus, from a partner. And apparently back then they were saying 1 in 3 people have the herpes virus. I can't imagine what it is now. And though I managed it well, I remember doctors saying, well, this will stay in your body forever. You can never get rid of this. You know, here are some things you can do to manage it better. And I did. Never gave it to anybody, and was very careful. But it was difficult when you have an outbreak. You feel demoralized and like out of control. This was the I was just so excited to in working with Deirdre, who helped me in many ways with the colon hydrotherapy and some things that we were looking at that might help me. in a new way, something that I hadn't tried. But last July, I started taking the Silver and the Cell Defender, which are my best friends now. And when I had my checkup in December, I had another herpes test taken and I was negative. And I almost started crying. I just thought, oh my gosh, I knew there was a solution. I am very stubborn. And I knew there was a solution. So that was a huge win. I couldn't wait to tell Deirdre. She was elated. And then on the other hand, because I'm taking this, how do you say it? The mushroom? Zemunity. Zemunity. Yeah.
And I'm sure all of this stuff is just a happy coincidence because our products are just meant to support our health. But of course, a healthy, clean body can fix itself.
Oh, right. Of course. I guess I should preface that. Yes, absolutely. I have other really good habits that help, but I feel like that was something that propelled it to not show up on the tests again. Thank you for clarifying that. You're right. Absolutely. The other is just through taking the products I've noticed in the colon hydrotherapy, whatever I have going on is vastly improved. I'm not totally through the woods yet, but I've seen really big improvements. As I continue to tweak things in my diet that work for me better, but I found that I'm just feeling better overall. And I look forward to, when I've been on the products even a little bit longer to see what kind of results I get, especially with the gut issues, which, have ended up being a little more challenging over the years. So I'm thankful. You got to have people in your court. I appreciate all the doctors and people who I've gone to who have tried in their best efforts to get me along the way. But, health is really self-advocacy. And I'm so thankful for Deirdre. When you're with a colon hydrotherapist and you're hanging out there for an hour together, you get to know each other. And I'm just thankful for her talent and skill, but also guiding me to these products to just help me have a better quality of life, because I have real estate to do. I have people to help. So, yeah. And I'm happy to, if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to share my email address if that would be helpful.
Yeah, sure. Maybe we could type that in on the chat too, but go ahead. I think it's easy to remember.
Yeah.
It's B B Webb something, isn't it?
Yeah, it's I'm not sure where to put it here. It's B B Webb Realtor, REALTOR at bbwebb.net. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm so thankful for people, who I've talked to who've had stories similar to my own, to realize, oh my gosh, I'm not alone here and I can get through this. And of course, with, supportive practitioners like Deirdre and products like these, that I'm thankful. Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited for you too.
Yeah.
Have you probably shared this with a couple of other people too?
Well, it's interesting. Some people, you get excited about something, but if it's out of somebody's purview and it's like, well, why aren't you just going to a doctor? And so it's sometimes the doctors have been helpful in some ways, but yeah, I'm absolutely happy to share my story with anybody who's open to healing and health and getting the body to a place where it can heal itself, because that's what it's designed to do. Absolutely.
Well, one of the things, since we're kind of in the middle of all of this, there's a lot of thoughts that death, but on a more positive note, that health begins in the colon and in the gut. That seems to be kind of the Achilles heel of human metabolism is the gut. And if you can help that, and if that's healthy, pretty much everything downstream is going to be healthy. But yeah. On the other hand, if you got inflammation, bad things going on at that point, then everything downstream could be just a whole river of inflammation and triggering all sorts of problems too. And maybe Deirdre could talk about that, because you've been there a lot and guided a lot of people. And Avini has been, I guess, some really amazing extra tools that you have in your arsenal to really make a big difference. What do you say, Deirdre?
Well, Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about, I've been doing colonics for 20 years, and as I've been doing them, realizing that cleansing is a huge part of health, and people come to me with all kinds of health situations, and I say, well, let's clean your body out, like if you replaced your oil filter in your car, and let's see if it runs better, and see if the body has the capacity to fix itself here. And so I've concentrated on how to clean people out. And in concentrating, because there's a viewing tube on my colonic machine, for 20 years, I've seen very unusual things come out of people. And some of them looked like maybe at one point they were alive. And so my curiosity, over 20 years has propelled me into reading medical reports, reading scientific studies. And it's just in my effort to try to help people figure this out. And so when I found the Avini products, the first thing that happened was the day they came in, my brother called me, and he had gotten that latest virus everybody has, and he had already been on oxygen and really, really sick. And, he's a lovely man, an incredible artist. But, he rides a horse like a pair of pants, and he lives his life like that too. And so because of that, he was on oxygen. So he called me up and he said, I'm headed to the hospital and I'm calling up to say goodbye because I think I'm going to die. And I said, well, those Avini products just came in. I said, he lives out in the country, like 20 miles. I said, well, why don't I run them out? Why don't we just try it? And he said, well, whatever, sis, you want to bring them out, bring them out. So I brought them out, and I said, I've been hearing some stories about this silver and about, people, drinking a half a bottle. And, since it looks like you're going to die, you think we should do that too? And he goes, honey, I'm going to die. Do whatever you want to do. So yeah, I gave him everything, and he drank a half a bottle, and he called me up after that. I think it was the following day or the next day, and said, well, guess what happened to me when I drank that silver? And I said, what? He said, well, I coughed up 2 golf ball size of pus out of my lungs, 2 of them. And I almost choked to death, and scared my wife so bad, she ran me into the doctor. And he said, well, Tom, you don't have pneumonia, but you don't have that virus anymore either. And he goes, oh, okay. But he says, you're in really rough shape. You almost choked to death. Maybe we should put you on hospice, So anyway, so he continued to take the products, and instead of going on hospice, he got on physical therapy, and he's still with us. He's still on physical therapy, flirting with the nurses. He's Irish, horrible flirt. But it really startled me as to the speed that he got help. And so I started to put it on hundreds and hundreds of people, because I've been in business 20 years and I've made friends with my clients. They just go, if you think it'll help, I'm going to try it, So I was putting it on people, and I noticed that all kinds of things that I had not seen before go through the colonic tube were coming through the tube. So I thought, I need to know what these things are, So I started to do some more research as to what they could possibly be. Well, through that research, I was able to find out that a lot of gut problems and a lot of health problems, probably most of them, are caused by some sort of pathogen that's living in your body that has no business being there. And the thing about these pathogens is they create an environment, and this environment also becomes a co-infection. And in these co-infections, it's a secondary problem. So, and some of them are huge. You can see them, some are very large, some are frighteningly large, and some are microscopic. So as people got on the products and I started to see this kind of stuff leave, I noticed with it that a health problem that I'd been working on for years, all of a sudden it picked up and started getting better. Now, with every person, it got better at a different rate of speed. And, sometimes it would stall out and I would think, no, I'm going to proceed forward here. And so as my clients started to take the product, I thought to myself, well, I have a hold of something that is very significant when it comes to cleansing the body. And I need, I'm 74. When it started to move, the product line in my business, my kids said, you don't need to do this. You're okay, Mom. You don't need to add another business to what you're doing. And they were concerned for me because of my age, and they didn't want me to take on something, that would be very powerful like this. And they were realizing the power in the product. My youngest daughter, when I gave all my kids the products, and when my youngest daughter took the silver, she did 5 sprays a day, 5 sprays 3 times a day for 2 days. At the end of 2 days, she was vacuuming. She thought she had diarrhea. She went to the bathroom and, like a responsible daughter of a colon hydrotherapist, looked in the toilet, and it was full of things that were not food. And she called me up and she says, well, how do I order this myself? Because I'll tell you what, Mom, I dumped a load of things that are real scary. And so they were realizing this is really powerful. And then I told them, that I was going to go to a convention in Las Vegas. And they said, Las Vegas, Mom, you get lost in Bozeman. We will never see you again. So anyway, but as things are proceeding forward, I have hundreds of people on the product. I have hundreds of testimonials. And the bottom line with all these testimonials is that cleansing is served very well by the product line. And as cleansing of the body is served well, just like, would you really change your oil without changing your oil filter? I don't think you would. It would work a little. And that's what was happening to other cleanses I was using. They would all work a little, but they wouldn't solve the problem. So I realized the filter. Okay, let's talk about our filters. Our liver is a filter, our lymphatic system is a filter, our bowels are a filter, our kidneys are a filter, our skin is a filter. Well, let's talk about the filters when they get clogged, because I could bring people so far. But when these filters get clogged, and the longer they've been clogged, that's why so many people over 70 have all these very troublesome health problems, is when they get clogged and your body can't process this toxicity out, then it starts to build up in the organs. So as I realized this and thought, it looks like this has the ability, from what I see, to slowly help clean out the lymphatic system, clean out the colon, and as I noticed this, I thought, this is the next step in my journey of helping people with their health. So in this journey, I think the hardest part of this journey for me is when I run across a person that has a very serious health problem. I feel relatively safe that this product line would clean them out and help them. I'm not going to say it was cure them, but would help them. And when I see this and I realize they can't afford it, that's probably the hardest for me, Just recently, I had a client that had a life-threatening situation, and and then her company, which this gives capitalism a bad name, and I'm not going to talk bad about capitalism because I'm a capitalist, okay? But capitalism without a heart is not a good thing. And her company let her go. And now she doesn't have health insurance. And she's on the phone crying to me. And she can't afford the products. And I'm, my heart is bleeding for her. I get off the phone and I'm saying to myself, that's not my responsibility. It's her responsibility to find the money for this. And I sat there and I was praying, and all of a sudden a loud voice in my head said, no, it's your responsibility. And I said, oh, a God assignment, of course, that's next, right? So I thought, well, what could I possibly do about this? And so I thought, well, I've sold a lot of product to people. I kind of know people that can afford to help and ones that can't. So I called my friends that could afford to help and asked them to help, and asked them just to send one product. Well, lots of product came. And as I watched this, I thought, oh, that is so good. That is so good. So then, of course, I called Neil, and Neil helped too. And as the products came in, she was crying. She called me up crying, saying, this is so wonderful. So just recently she called me, and she'd been in the shower, and one of these life-threatening lumps on the side of her head, she couldn't find it. It was gone. She called her friend and said, I can't find that lump. And he said, don't get too excited. We'll go to the doctor. We'll see what's happening here. So anyway, after they went to the doctor, they realized her condition had improved a lot, life-threatening condition. And so the thing that I want to talk to you guys about is the hard part of the business, which is people that can't afford it, that need it, and could benefit from it. And when I was in Las Vegas, I used a public bathroom, and they had to unlock it for me. And when they unlocked it, this girl walked out, and she's the age of my granddaughter. And she looked like she was 2 steps away from death. She was wrapped in 2 blankets. And I was so stunned by what I saw. And I thought, you know, this is like the streets of Calcutta, where Mother Teresa went, and she stepped over the dead and dying and decided, well, I have to do something about this. I have tremendous guilt that I didn't stop everything I was doing in that moment and help this girl. And the reason I'm saying this is because the people's health in our nation right now is at a very precarious spot. Very precarious. And things are coming our way that we understand, and things we do not understand. Things are coming our way that we know the origins of, and some we do not. But it seems like in cleansing the body and strengthening the immune system, that we can help tremendously. And when we help the sick, they're so appreciative. They get up and help each other. And that's what I saw when people responded to my call, is they got up, they had been helped, and they said, sure, I'm going to help. And you know, that isn't that the spirit of the American people, really? And I'll tell you, this company has an opportunity, and I'm hoping that a small inside movement created by the people that are distributors, that it services, and that when we see someone, we're, instead of stepping over them in the gutter, and that we just ask our friends to help a little. Because if we all donated 1 product a month, which would not be much, if we all did that, we would have enough to help the people we find that don't have the money. And so I'm just requesting that you all think about this, and that as a business that is going to be so big, it is growing so fast. If we as distributors did this wonderful thing about helping the less privileged, it would say so much for the company and for the people and for the product line. So the other thing I want to talk about is that the business is just starting to rev up. I feel it like, you know, a high-powered engine underneath me. And the reason I feel it is because of what is happening to the health of my clients. And at first, they're too sick to really tell very many people. And then they start to feel better. And then all of a sudden, they just come in and there's a shine. And when that happens, they are so grateful. They tell people. I have one call after another, and I've lost my voice because I've said, okay, I'm not taking calls after 10, because first of all, I don't have any voice left. Okay. So you guys are the voice. So every time you sign somebody up, they are a new voice. And these voices, when they sing out, these voices have the ability to go in this nation and really increase the health of the people. And you know what makes a healthy nation? Healthy people that have healthy jobs and that are, you know, are helping each other and helping the world, be an example of capitalism that works, and capitalism with a conscience. And so I'm very proud to be an Avini distributor. I'm very proud to offer these products to people, and I'm very proud of my clients, because they were so willing to try it, and they're so willing to tell other people. So, and I'm thanking you, Bibi, because as a human on this earth, you're the best. And I'm so grateful that you're my client, but I'm absolutely more grateful that you're my friend.
Thank you, Deirdre. I'm so grateful for you and the power of working together and collaborating and sharing and really looking after the best interests of one another. You said it beautifully. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So I'll open it up now to some questions. Bibi said she would take some questions too.
And I'd like to just say, it's a lot more fun to be in a business where it's not just, real succinctly, a lot of people maybe at a business school or something, what's the purpose of a business? And they'll say to make a profit. But continuing that, would be, it's the purpose of a business is to make a profit by doing good, adding value to other people. And it's fun to be on a mission, to have a company that really has a cause, kind of cause capitalism. And I love what you're talking about, because it just seems like a law of the universe. You can't give without getting back. And it's just such a beautiful compensation. And I kind of like to think of it in a way is we got Avini, and within our own Avini business, we can kind of have an Avini tithing that you give out bottles to people. And it just invariably comes back because you, it's like little wonderful seeds. You plant this product with somebody, miracles happen, and it all comes back. That's how you'll get customers and referrals and business builders is this product. It really does work. It does add value. And so, wow, it's just a wonderful thing. Just thinking, my whole intention is just to help other people. You don't have to think about anything else. Just that classic Zig Ziglar idea that if you help enough other people get what they want, you automatically get what you want. And that's not just a crass a statement. It really is from the heart. You really do want to help other people.
Yeah. There were some questions I saw in the Q&A about a couple when I answered them that went away, but I think one was about how much product I was taking, how I was taking it. Do you mind if I answer that?
Oh, please.
Everyone? Yeah. I just was doing the recommended dosage at the beginning, and I think I started in July. The silver squirts, 10 to 12 squirts, 2 times a day. I was taking some Immunity, 2 capsules a day, and the Cell Defender the same. I believe in August, Deirdre and I were talking about drinking a whole bottle of the silver, and I did that. And then I believe in the fall, I started upping my amount of Cell Defender. And actually now, as I'm working on this gut issue, and I hope I can come back and tell you the fine results of that, I am taking more like not on the hour, but one probably squirtful every 2 hours. And I'm starting to see in my colonics results of getting some more of the bad stuff out. And then I began taking the fiber in the late fall, just the recommended. Well, I started with just 1 scoop, and then I built it up to 2. So that's what's been working for me right now. Yeah.
That's exciting. Hey, Deirdre, being an expert in this kind of stuff, what do you think about the plus fiber? Have you had any experience, or what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
The fiber is for a lot of intestinal problems, the kind of problems where you go all the time, you have diarrhea all the time, or the problems where nothing moves through your colon. Both of those situations are very aided by the fiber. And so I have a lot of people on the fiber. The only issue that I see with the fiber at all, I think it's the best fiber I've ever used, is when you have SIBO, sometimes it's not the right fiber for you. So if you have SIBO, you might need to look a little bit further into an Inuan, and it might not be for you. But for most other cases, and people that are undergoing, big health challenges, they might be on many prescriptions. It has helped them so much. And the blood sugar issues. Now, I lost over 10 pounds just taking the fiber. It hasn't come back. I'm still on it. I know that it aids that, but also I have had people with horrible blood sugar issues that they have to, take medicine for constantly to regulate it. And I've had it regulated quickly. I've had long, people that are 70 that have had these blood sugar issues for 30 years, and they're immediately getting better. The other thing that I see in the testing so far is that people that have cholesterol issues, their cholesterol is getting better, not magically, but getting better. And so the fiber, at first it might produce a little gas, but when you increase probiotics, generally speaking, it produces a little gas because it's multiplying. But I noticed after taking it for a month that decreased significantly. And so for those people that can't have colonics, I say get the fiber. If something happens, you get plugged up, call me, but the fiber can replace a colonic. A colonic isn't a normal thing. I tell people every time you have a colonic, you're disturbing your microflora in there. And so we try not to do very many colonics. We want to correct the problem. And so the fiber, I believe, is an incredible solution to the fact that you go too much or you don't go enough. It seems to just jump in there and help with that.
And let me clarify, if people don't know what SIBO is, small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, what you were referring to.
Yes. And, and that's in the small intestine. So I deal mostly with the large intestine. However, my interest is outside of that. My interest is in the liver. My interest is in the small intestine. My interest is, because when things start to back up in the body, well, think about it. They back up the bowel, they back up in the small intestine, your liver's eliminating all the time, your kidneys are eliminating. And if you're congested, everything's backing up. So my interest has went there too. And I've seen wonderful solutions. And, when everything backs up in the, kidneys, now you have kidney stones. It's just like a plethora of things that go wrong. And so if we can clean it out, a lot of my clients that get colonics are able to, sometimes they can't quit getting colonics, but they don't need to get as many. And I'm looking for that. I'm trying to find a way that this unnatural procedure, and that's exactly what it is. It's been going on since the pyramids. They gave themselves colonics using reeds, but this is an unnatural procedure. I'm trying to find a way that they don't need to have this.
Deirdre, someone has a question here, Bonita Lund. If you have been on the products for several months, would colon hydrotherapy be beneficial, she asked.
Yes. Let me tell you why. Some of these pathogens or some of these toxins that you eliminate, it's big, whether it's plaque or whether it was alive at one time, it's big and sticky and hard for the body to eliminate. Sometimes they will even settle at low points of your colon. Sometimes it'll completely plug you up. And at that point, a gentle colonic is very, very beneficial. And what it does is it keeps you on this cleansing program with very little side effects. This cleansing program is the strongest one I've ever seen, ever used myself in 20 years of colon hydrotherapy, with the least side effects. But there are a few, depending on what condition you start this cleansing, but there are a few, because this toxicity that is backed up in your body can be a lot, and can be hard, can be sticky, can be hard for your body to remove.
In fact, some of the things that stick in my mind is this idea. I guess Dr. Bernard Jensen, his gross out books about bowel cleanliness and all of that kind of stuff, talks about how stuff can be encrusted and impacted and actually be there for years. And I think we've all heard stories of people, well, like a grown lady goes in for a colonic, and the little tube that you can see has all this multicolored flecks, and realizing the when she was in elementary school, she ate Crayolas, or finding a Barbie doll shoe that accidentally got swallowed 20 years ago. So it just, where was that? And And so, boy, if you got any concern about losing weight, some of that stuff that maybe is stuck up in there for years, that would be probably the best weight you could ever lose. So, and you probably have a lot of good stories along that line too.
Well, one of the things that I want to say is when your colon is congested like that, it is designed to absorb nutrients. Okay. So we take all these really high powered, expensive nutrients, but if you're full of garbage and your body can't absorb the nutrients, many times in the colonic tube, I just see it fly by. I go, hey, we could stop that tube, fish this out, and you could take it again, because your digestive system is not working well enough, number one, to break it down. And your body isn't working well enough to absorb it. So I think we have a lot of food. I know that we're deficient in some things in our food supply. However, if your colon's clean and if your circulation in your body is working correctly, your body is fed through your stomach and through your colon and through your mouth. And these wonderful nutrients that we have access to then go in our body and do their work. Our body is simply energy fields. And when I got a Tesla light, and the guy that sold it to me said, we're 90% energy and 10% matter. When he said that, I was stunned. I thought, I know that for sure. That's true. And I said to myself, how do I know that's true? The reason I know it's true is when someone dies, less than 5 minutes later, 90% of them is gone. Now, what left? There wasn't time for evaporation. What's gone is their energy field. So our body is full of energy fields that work and deliver nutrients, deliver circulation, and provide us energy and health. And when you're congested, whether it's your liver, the energy field is low. Whether it's your kidneys, the energy field is low. Lots of scientists think that the reason we have pain is the energy field in that area of your body isn't working well, whether it comes from injury or whether it comes from disease. So when you cleanse, what you do is it's just like, plugging you into an electrical circuit. All of a sudden, those energy fields that have been low or even stopped in an area of the body start to work again. And I immediately, at 74, think about it. I have at minimum hour and a half more of energy a day. We're talking productive, wide awake energy. And so where's that come from? I do everything already. I cleanse. I have everything. Where did it come from? Well, it came from this deep cleansing that comes from these micronized particles in these products. And that deep cleansing, when that happens, the energy starts to move. You feel it. I have a torn ACL and a torn meniscus, right? On the MRI, I have no arthritis at 74. The doctor said, I don't want to operate on you. You have no arthritis, unheard of at your age. I think you're better off not to operate on it. You'd have more trouble because every single operation that I would do on that would cause some arthritis. And so I never expected the products to help my knee at all. Never expected to help at all. But it's helped over 20% now. So I'm able to walk more briskly. The numbness is down by quite a bit. It's down by more than 20%. So what does that mean? The numbness is down. That means the energy field in that part of my knee, it's moving through it again. So how much will this healing take place? I have no idea. But that is something in my body. Every joint feels better. Hey, I didn't have any major significant high blood pressure, anything like that. I'm not on any medicine, nor have I ever been on. But all these little things in my body are operating better. So I have more energy. My joints are better. My balance is better. At 74, you notice you're not quite as strong in your balance. My balance is way better. I think I might be smarter. Ask my children.
I'd say you definitely are. From when I first met you, man. Big improvement.
So I'm grateful.
Deirdre, I have a couple of people here that have left their number. I'll pass on to you. She said, any chance I'd be able to talk to you? Is that fine? I don't know how you want to handle that.
Yeah.
Dave.
Pass them on to me. Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Hey, any final thoughts, Bibi?
Just that I guess what I've really learned over the years, we live in a pretty toxic world, products, environment, emotions, foods, that kind of thing, our main job is to keep our body clean so it can do what it's designed to do. And it's very difficult sometimes when, I don't know what happened that created this gut imbalance in me at a young age, but I think it's my immune system couldn't handle it. And as I'm getting older, I'll be 66 this year, it's gotten worse despite all my good efforts. I'm sure the good efforts have been helpful, but now I feel like finding products that have helped take that next leap. And it doesn't mean I'm not doing other things. I'm very mindful. There's cleanses I do, dietary cleanses that really help me. Yeah, I think just really removing the toxicity so we can get at any imbalance before it becomes imbalanced. And so we're about, wellness medicine instead of illness medicine. I don't want to wait till I get cancer. I want to prevent it by doing these measures that are supporting my body in a way that, that I haven't had before. I can't wait to see what else we learned from this beginning, the beginning products that Avini is offering, to see, what else we can do to aid the body and mind and soul so we can be of service, do good things. Have
Sounds
fun.
good to me. May you never know what you're preventing is the way to use these products.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Well, golly, thank you. This has just been wonderful, and let's go out and share the good word. And everybody, I hope you enjoyed the call today. Thanks again.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening.
Yes.